We are not allowed to leave holes and walk away from the site and consider it closed. We have to backfill them. One of the things that you may know is that it's very difficult to find clean backfill. It has to be tested according to state protocols before we can import it and then use it to backfill a hole that we dug. And the more holes we dig, the more challenging that becomes. Now, we're sort of, in a sense, competing with the city of San Francisco, and you'll see this later. They have a much larger pile because they, for separate reasons we'll talk about a little bit later, they are also stockpiling soil on the island for the future, although that's for redevelopment, not for cleanup. Okay, so moving along here, we're heading up on towards the wastewater treatment plant. If you wonder what this was, these concrete structures, this is the wastewater treatment plant as you're seeing it now was built in phases, but it started construction in 1968. And this wastewater treatment plant is still technically owned by the Navy, but it's operated by the San Francisco Public Utilities Commission, PUC. And the license still is currently under the Navy. So we have a joint interest in that, and we talk regularly with them. In fact, they go to our regulatory meetings often and listen to the program and ask questions. But this basically, if you wanted to know where your wastewater goes and how it's processed, whether you're on Yerba Buena Island or Treasure Island, it's at this wastewater treatment plant. Now, eventually, you might have seen this on the poster board. Eventually, they're going to build a new wastewater treatment plant very close to here, but they obviously have to build a new one before they can shut one down because there's an ongoing demand for that never goes away. And that's part of what they'll do for redevelopment in the out years. Okay, now as we continue on, we're coming up on Site 6, and if you can pull out your map, hopefully you have with the stops because it shows you the little blue boxes with site numbers on them, and you should be looking at the little blue box with site number 6 on it.
Site 6 for me because I can't get it from there.
And yes, also known as Stop 1.
It's that yard right there.
Okay, so this is Site 6. If you could stop right here, Darius, and then a little further up. Okay, so off to our left, Site 6 really has two parts to it. This is where we did a lot of soil staging and loading in about 2007, 2008. We loaded a lot of soil here from the residential neighborhood. The solid waste disposal areas that we've been digging and that the residents are very aware of and that we're continuing to work on. The soil was brought and staged and screened here, off to the left in this place. Now, what's going on right now? We have cleaned out the area and we are doing a radiological survey there. The reason why is because we handled soils, some of them did have low-level radiological waste in them, and they were processed here. Later on, we used, in 2010, and on, we used this area for sealed bins that had low-level radiological soil in them. So what the rules say is when you use an area for radiological processing, you also have to survey it to make sure that it's as radiologically free as when you started. So we have a baseline survey that said this area was not radiologically impacted in any way before we used it. Now that we've used it, we have to prove that it's not. And if we find anything, then we are required to clean it up. So that's what we're doing in this yard right here now. We're doing a survey. They're about 2/3 of the way done, and we'll know what the results are in about a month or two.